Hi, my name is Tiara Salazar and my major is Honors Science in the Humanities with a concentration in pre-law, and my minors are History, Legal Studies, and American Sign Language. My thesis title is Americans with Disabilities Act, the federal government's definition of a qualified interpreter and its impact on the deaf community. Due to my ASL background, my thesis focuses on the deaf community and ASL interpreters. I focus my argument on interpreters because the majority of deaf people prefer to use interpreters versus other forms of communication, such as writing notes. Why, you may ask? Because ASL is their form of communication. Just as any hearing person would prefer an interpreter or a translator if English wasn't their first language, or if they were speaking to someone whose first language wasn't English, a deaf person feels the same way. That being said, the topic I wrote my thesis about is, of course, the Americans with Disabilities Act, or the ADA. More specifically, about Title III, Section 36.303. This section establishes that people with disabilities have the right to effective communication through the use of auxiliary aids and services. One of the listed auxiliary aids and services is an on-site qualified interpreter. However, the ADA does not specifically state what a qualified interpreter is. As a result of the vagueness of the federal law, deaf people are unlawfully being provided with unqualified interpreters to communicate with hearing people, or, in other scenarios, no interpreter at all. I also addressed that a major reason why this occurs is due to states' laws. The states' laws are just as ambiguous as the federal ADA law. The ADA's ambiguity, combined with the lack of enforcement, allows for the states to provide unqualified interpreters for deaf people. So ultimately, the federal law needs to change. The right to effective communication is not guaranteed to deaf people. In my thesis, I argue that the federal government's vague definition of a qualified interpreter needs to be revised. My revision specifies that a qualified interpreter is one who is licensed, with qualifications listed. These qualifications, of course, come from the nationally recognized deaf certification organization, such as the Registry of Interpreters for the Deaf. Licensure is a necessity. Licensure asserts proper certification that is granted by the government. As of right now, only 23 states require licensure, and even then, these licenses are not properly requested from interpreters. Throughout the country, there are issues of both a lack of interpreters and the states providing unqualified interpreters for deaf people. As this continually occurs, deaf people are not being granted of the rights, which I see as a major problem while living in 21st century America. This is a major reason why I chose this topic. With my passion for civil rights law, I was made aware of this issue that the deaf community are facing and wanted to bring more awareness to it. Thank you.